New video from Saint Tontas, the best exploration in gacha gaming. Okay. All right. It's got great exploration. I'm going to say this, though. It's not a better game, and it's a lot of these things are jank, but I think Terra Fantasy does a lot of good things in the exploration department, from mounts to... You can go on a bloody surfboard, can't you? You know, jetpacks, different flying stuff, the same sort of traversal that Wuthering Waves has got as well. So, yeah, I think Terra Fantasy does it really good, but let's see why it's the best exploration in gacha gaming then.
This right here is probably the least used feature in Wuthering Waves. The ability to climb walls.
True. This is a good point. Do you ever do this? I can't remember the last time I crawled up a wall. Why would you? You know what I mean? Just why would you? I think they just added this function in the game so they could just laugh at Genshin, I think.
There's nobody to blame here either, especially considering how many other forms of travel there are. It's clear.
I do agree, though. Some more traversal echoes, right? I think that was a good point in that Twitter thread. I definitely think we need more echoes that give us traversal benefits, whether it's vertical jumping, whether it's flight, whether it's other ways to get around the ground quickly. I think that would be a really cool addition to the game, if I'm honest.
Here for any person who's played more than 3 minutes of Wuthering Waves that the exploration and overworld navigation in this game is absolutely unparalleled. And with every update Kuro has made to the game, they've only made it better, adding...
Despite the controversy, Terra Fantasy still has the best exploration so far. I think I tend to agree. I do. Don't get me wrong. Not as polished, but the options. That's one thing I really like about Terra Fantasy. The variety in the gameplay, throughout the game, but like that you get introduced to in the first few hours of the game. I think clears quite a lot of gacha games in that regard.
New features while limiting power creep across new character releases. But it certainly doesn't help that the only competition when it comes to exploration is everyone's favorite example of the sunk cost fallacy, Genshin Impact. Wuthering Waves' exploration tool.
I don't think it's the only competition. I think the thing is when people, well, I suppose it depends on what you're looking at really, but I think that when people are talking about specific things in Wuthering Waves all the time, they're directly compared to WuWa, to Genshin, Star Rail, and to Zenley Zone Zero, because that's all they think of when they're thinking about gacha, you know? Yeah, there's other games in the market as well, and plenty of people play these other games as well.
And its overall player experience is so good that the industry leader within the gacha action RPG genre, with nearly 4 years of operation as a complete monopoly, is now copying these features completely. Don't believe me? You only have to take a look at...
Come on now. I don't think we can call out Genshin for copying features in Wuthering Waves, though. Let's be honest here. Let's put our cards on the table. Wuthering Waves wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Genshin, right? There's lots of elements in Wuthering Waves that have directly been inspired and taken from Genshin. Let's not pretend. So I don't think we can really get mad that Hoyo were like, ooh, that's cool. We're going to take that. You know, I would be a little bit hypocritical there if we started getting ragey over that.
Every single limited character release since Natlan launched. The only thing is that each of these new features are individually locked to a single character, restricted to a single region,
this is true.
And perhaps most importantly of all, paywalled through their gacha. In Genshin Impact...
you know what? Saint Tontas is on his villain arc recently, isn't he? Like... He's gone from talking about specific things in Wuthering Waves to like the hardcore glazing to like throwing shots constantly at Hoyo. Hey, I'm not mad about it, I'm just stating it.
You can get the same exploration experience as a single free Wuthering Waves character. You just have to pull 3 limited 5 stars and stay in a single region of the map. There's a reason why all of Genshin's new features mirror the tools that Wuthering Waves has had since launch. There's a reason why Kuro's updates have been focused on quality of life rather than new travel methods that are blatantly better than others. It's because Wuthering Waves, from its baseline systems all the way to its individual gadgets, has the best exploration in gacha gaming, and will
Again, I think if you put it next to Terra Fantasy, now, you'd look at it from a quality standpoint, you'd say, well, yeah, Wuthering Waves. Well, yeah, man, I think Terra Fantasy does a better job in terms of variety, different ways, and just, like, what you can do with those things as well. I think it clears it, if I'm honest.
likely hold that title for the foreseeable future. Today we'll be diving into why this is the case, breaking down what makes Wuthering Waves' exploration so fulfilling, why other developers are scrambling to integrate these features into the—
See, like, I think if you just directly compare Wuthering Waves to Genshin a lot of the time, you're going to find things where, not all the time, but you're going to find a lot of places where it clears it in different regards. But if we're going to talk about the best in Gacha, then let's talk about Gacha. Let's just talk about the best versus Genshin.
The game, and how Wuthering Waves' new additions to exploration have been and will be better than their competitors, both in the present and the future. It's clear from the business practices seen on both sides that one company has a lot more respect for their players and their past expenditures than others. As always, if you're enjoying this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. One of the greatest parts of
Just say Tontas work at Kuro.
WuWa's exploration is the fact that every single gadget or shortcut is available to every single character. It could be the grappling hook, the echo slotted into your active skill, or simply every character's default infinite out-of-combat stamina and their ability to run up walls. The fact of the matter is that regardless of who you've pulled or what team composition you're running in the overworld, you have a massive variety of tools available that can streamline your experience dramatically. There's no need—
Yeah, dude, I must say, though, the Changli, Jian synergy in the aerial stuff, great. You can just pretty much stay in the air forever. It's kind of cool.
It all to craft specialized parties that leverage built-in character abilities to do more than just sprint in the overworld until your stamina runs out. The end result is absolutely—
We haven't got mechs. We haven't got flying bumblebee things. We haven't got jetpacks. We haven't got surfboards. We can't swim underwater. We haven't got mounts. You know, let's get real here, man. You know, if you're going to talk about this, I think Terra Fantasy deserves a mention here, Saint Tontas. I think you're ignoring the elephant in the room.
absolute freedom in who you play in the overworld. You don't feel like you're wasting your time or playing suboptimally by not slotting or owning the character. You're not pulling characters strictly for the massively improved experience they give you in the overworld. And the Kuro devs aren't using quality of life as FOMO to increase their banner sales. However, some characters do have slight advantages over others, like Jian's ability to close distance in the air, or Shorekeeper's slightly enhanced auto-collecting butterfly sprint. But at the end of the day, these abilities are less efficient than the echo skills, which any character can equip that serve—
Yeah, but the farming, the auto-farming with Shorekeeper is nice.
The same purpose. The Cyan Heron goes further than Jian and resets your air dodge, while the Inferno Rider's hold is a lot faster than Shorekeeper, and the auto-collection range of the Junrock is wider and completely automated. These character abilities are built into their kits, but they're objectively a worse version of what every character can already use. It's the complete polar opposite compared to another gacha title, where characters with no exploration mechanics built into their kit drive some of the most sluggish, unresponsive, and slow-paced experience.
Yeah, I must admit though, man, I'm getting PTSD just thinking about climbing in Genshin. Like, this is one of the big factors of why I'm worried about going back to play the game, because like how fluid it is in Wuthering Waves. It's just like traveling through molasses, and then you see a decent sized cliff or wall, and you're just like, guess I'm going round, or I'm hoping there's some ledges here and there where I can get my breath back, you know?
Is possible. This became even more evident as Genshin released more regions with absurd levels of verticality and hard-to-reach objectives, while conveniently releasing characters who could bypass all of these obstacles at the exact same time. The Genshin devs manufacture problems and sell the solution. They design their overworlds with the intention of creating inconvenience, annoyances, and frustration if you don't save the resources for or spend on—
Hey, look, listen though. Smart. Not great for the consumer. Great for the bank balance though, and the people who really like to see Genshin's bank balance as well. It's great for those guys because they can go, look how much money Genshin made. I'm so happy. You know? Somebody just bought a boat and a Maserati. I had to spend 50 quid though, you know. But still, I'm really happy.
the on-banner character. They region lock, time gate, and reset progression across every single helpful gadget in the game with each new area, requiring a massive amount of commitment and playtime to get anything close to a cohesive exploration experience, unless you decide to inconvenience yourself as a player even more and constantly alt-tab with the aid of third-party tools. Kuro, on the other hand, gives every single solution to the player or lets them grind those solutions through mobs in the overworld, and unlocks an incredible number of helpful tools within hours of starting.
He's right on these points here. You know, he's not right on the fact that he's missing out Tower of Fantasy in regards to the traversal, but he's right on these points. But man, the glazing is... whoa! You know, get some donuts out, man, because you are gonna shine them bad boys up, bro.
The game. Players gain immediate access to the grappling hook in the first 30 minutes, and amazing tools like the loot mapper and portable waypoint are only a few hours,
which I always forget to use. I always forget to use a loot mapper.
after that. This made the experience great in 1.0, but the devs streamlined it even further in future updates. They buffed the detection ability of the loot mapper to make chests even easier, added a hover droid shooter to streamline challenges in mining, and gave every player, regardless of who they had on their active team or on their roster, the ability to precisely locate resources in the overworld. That's a feature that the Genshin devs isolate to a single gacha character in a single region, and it's a massively player-unfriendly development trend you can identify across almost every new feature in the game. It's safe to say that almost every single part of exploration in Wuthering Waves, be it climbing, loot tracking, or looting materials, is a better, more convenient experience for players compared to Genshin Impact. It's also safe to—
okay, this video should have been the best exploration versus Genshin Impact, shouldn't it really? That's what the title should have been.
To say that Genshin, with their inferior implementations, also locks almost all of their features behind the gacha or a massive amount of progression, effectively gating quality of life for players, unless they pay with money or their time. There's a reason why the Wuthering Waves exploration experience feels a bit short. You're not actively struggling against the game's systems to get things to 100%. You're not artificially increasing your playtime by running out of stamina while scaling high cliffs. You're not wasting time tracking the horribly vague little wisp from treasure compasses or waiting for its dreadfully long cooldown between chests. You're not constantly alt-tabbing to a third-party map because the built-in detection systems—
I must admit, it's been nice not to have to use this map for a long time though, you know? It has been nice.
Are complete garbage. You're not waiting multiple daily resets to collect ascension materials for your characters, as the developer—
I think since Tower of Fantasy is kind of dead, doesn't even get brought into the conversation anymore. Yeah, it's probably what it is. I just think and I get it, it's for the title. I understand. I'm not hating on that regard. But I think if you're gonna bring in the gacha argument, we're talking about the entirety of gacha. I think it's only fair to give it a, like, you know, just mention it. Just give it a little mention, because I think it clears in a lot of areas than both of them. But as you say, you know, it's a victim of just not being success. Well, it has had its success, but at the moment, nobody cares, so it doesn't get discussed, does it?
Actually respect your time and don't make the requirements absolutely absurd. You're doing all of these things in Genshin Impact. You're spending more time waiting for cooldowns or simply navigating the game's convoluted overworld mechanics that are designed to sell characters and inflate your playtime rather than be an actual enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
And you can see all of these player
traversal is not fun in Genshin. When you first start playing the game, you're loving it. But then it really becomes a detraction from the game, in my opinion. Now, some people might not find it like that. You know, they're still having a blast. Everything's, you know, smelling of roses. But for me, even before I started playing Wuthering Waves, it was the biggest negative factor for me, among other things, but it was the biggest negative factor for me that impacted my enjoyment in that minute-to-minute gameplay. Is just the traversal was just like, yeah, it was a problem, you know what I mean?
raiding mechanics at full play across the entirety of Natland. The main reason for Wuthering Waves' stellar exploration experience is the fact that Kuro Games respects their players. They have enough confidence in their baseline game and systems that they don't need to bundle improvements with new character releases. They instead build those improvements into the default experience. What that means in the long run is that Wuthering Waves is only going to get better, especially in exploration, regardless of who you pull or when you pull. You won't be locked out of new features
Do you think that'll always be the case, though? Just to play devil's advocate here. I hope it's not, but I hope that all these things become quality of life updates to just make it better for the baseline player base. But do you think we will ever get to a point in the game where these do become things, where Kuro do start to add in characters that, you know, do have benefits? Because obviously already we saw with Shorekeeper. Now I know he talks about the echoes and the hover gun. You know, she could do a little butterfly thing and auto-collect stuff. Other characters can't do that. Now, I know we've got tools for that, but other characters can't do that. It looks as well. Lumi looks like she's got a faster sprint as well. I'm not too sure. I've seen some footage of her doing like a sprint where the little hamster's shooting, and it looks faster than everybody else's sprint. That's a thing as well. But do you reckon we'll start to see that creep into the game? I don't know. We just don't know, do we? We can't say for certain that it's always going to be like this, and it's always going to be the best exploration in the future as well. Because we've got games like Azure Premilia coming out. We've got games like Never Neist to Ever Neist, Project Mugen. We don't know what the future holds for exploration within the space.
Unless you whip out your credit card. You don't have to commit a massive amount of time to simply unlock the features that make the game playable. It's crazy what happens when the devs focus on making a good game instead of a good revenue stream. As always, if you enjoyed this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Peace out.
Alright, good video. Yeah, in the direct comparisons on the things he's speaking about with Wuthering Waves to Genshin, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. It's not the best traversal, and it doesn't have the most variety or freedom in the gacha space, you know, that's for sure. But again, Roy's probably right. Terra Fantasy doesn't get brought into the conversation because it's really not on the radar for a lot of people nowadays. But I still think it's a factor that needs to be mentioned. But damn, man, Saint Ontus has gone into the glazing arc hard, hasn't he? Which I'm not against it. I haven't got an issue with it. But, yeah, you know, laying it on a little bit thick. But, yeah, I do like Saint Ontus. He does make good content. But I just don't agree. It's not the best exploration in gacha gaming. It's better than Genshin. Is probably a better title, but that's not going to bring in the view. So, yeah, don't hate it. Keep up the work. Keep growing. Yeah, dude has been growing. But yeah, I don't think it's the best in gacha gaming. But yeah, it's better than Genshin.